Welcome to the Key to Growth podcast, Home Services Marketing Unlocked, with me, your host, Jen McKee. Every week, I sit down with top marketers in the trades, from the brains behind $100 million companies to those scaling from 1 to 3, even to 10 million, breaking down exactly how they got where they are and uncover the secret to their success. If you're ready to grow your business and get real, actionable insights, you are in the right place. Let's unlock the key to your marketing success, starting now. Welcome back to the Key to Growth podcast, and I'm your host, Jen McKee, and today I'm here with Josh Crouch. Of course, I'm always excited for all my guests, but I'm super excited to talk to Josh today, specifically about AI, since that's what's on everybody's mind, right? But I'm going to let him introduce himself in case you don't know who he is. Who are you, Josh?
So, as you alluded to, my name is Josh. I'm the CEO and founder of Relentless Digital, which is a digital marketing company for the trades, primarily HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. We do SEO, website design, and marketing automation. We work very well with Jen. We have many mutual clients that do very well with both her social media work and our stuff on the, I guess, called the Google presence. And then I'm also a co-host of Service Business Mastery podcast, which has done pretty well for us over the past few years. So get to enjoy that. We get to have great conversations with people just like we're having today.
And Service Business Mastery is the producer of the Key to Growth podcast. I know that's more
we do produce podcasts too, so if you ever want to,
that's a secret thing. But it is like, it's linked. The podcast is linked in my everything.
Yep, that's true. So we're working on that SEO juice by getting those links, I guess.
Right? I don't know. It makes me feel lucky. It works out for me. So, like Josh said, we have a lot of mutual clients, which is kind of fun. And I always like to start at the beginning. And I'm going to not start at his beginning, even though we could go further back. But Josh and I met really early in my agency. I think it was fairly early in yours, not as early as in mine, because we had a mutual client who was super fun, who's still a client of mine. I don't know if she's still a client of yours, but we still like her.
She is. I was just on a call with her yesterday.
What? You get calls with her? I need to send her a link. I haven't talked to her.
Rarely. It was something new she wanted to talk about, but yeah.
I love that. Awesome. So tell us, Josh, you didn't actually start with a marketing agency. You started in HVAC, right?
I had never had a dream of running a marketing agency, actually. I always dreamed of having my own business. I didn't know what that was going to be.
$1 million?
Yeah, I was in the HVAC industry. Honestly, that's where I thought I was going to own a business someday.
Mm-hmm.
But so I was in the HVAC industry for 9 years. Mostly, literally, I have a slide on slide decks when I present. I've held just about every position except for like technician, installer.
Okay.
Don't ask me. I can be an install helper and grunt. I'm not the person that is going to actually wire up your system or fix anything that's broken. But I've operations management, branch management, territory sales management, dispatcher, CSR, parts runner, install helper. Like probably have like this massive title list of things that done in the trades. But the last stop that I was at, the third HVAC companies, where I really started going a massively deep dive, like really stupid deep dive into how to rank on Google, because I just realized that a lot of people were still talking about websites back in like 2019, 2020. And I was looking at our Service Titan data. I'm like, man, our best leads come through our Google, at the time, Google My Business listing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how do I enhance this? How do I make this better? How can I do more with this? Because our average tickets were higher. We had no price complaints. Like it was just made a lot of sense to me. And so I just started getting really good at that. And I started sharing stuff about that with a coaching group I was in at that point, which was CEO Warrior. And I started getting clients from it. People were like, hey, can you help me? It's just like every great business, right? It was a great plan and had this whole business plan, and people all they did was just reach out. I'm like, well, sure, I'll try to help you.
Yeah.
That's where it started about almost exactly 5 years ago now.
Yeah. So you started the company like in 2020?
Yeah, actually it started right before the world shut down. It was
a digital
like
agency isn't terrible.
Ironically, it's kind of like right place, right time a little bit, because we were one of the few industries that were positively impacted by the negative stuff that was going on in the world. So that, and a lot of people they had extra, a lot more people started their business. A lot more people needed to spend on marketing and figure out how they can grow their business. So yeah. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, I guess.
That's true. But that's not the case with Relentless Digital. You guys are really good. That's why people stick around and you continue to grow. So, okay, you had a post. I'm bringing this up now, even though I feel like like it could be brought up way later, but it's something I've seen you share about, which I love. And it's like this post that you posted on Facebook that went super viral. Was that when you had the marketing agency or when you were in HVAC?
No, I was in the trades and we were having a super cold weather snap. So that was the first time I posted. That was the second HVAC company I was with. That post actually got us it was just all educational stuff about like, it's super cold. This is what's going to happen with your system. Do this. Just like when I know like Oklahoma and Texas have had some of those freezes, and I know you're from Texas. So like some of those freezes where like plumbing stuff's not super protected, of like drip your faucet, open your cabinets, like helpful stuff. And it was going to be like one of the coldest snaps we had. It was like whatever they called an Alberta Clipper or polar vortex, whatever fancy word the meteorologists have for that stuff. And I just shared it. And then I shared it in our local Facebook groups, and it just kept getting shared and shared. It got shared like 990 times or something ridiculous. Yeah. And which, that stuff has played a big part in how I've seen that has always helped us. And like, we don't do social media for clients, but we do a lot of social media for ourselves and a lot of stuff in Facebook groups and a lot of stuff to educate and bring value, because we get a lot of leads from that stuff. And we did that from the trades to this, but like the formula works for no matter what business you're in. But 100%. I think too many people they want to sell from posts. They want to try to always sell instead of bring value and just educate their audience.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Speaking of educating this audience, what are you seeing right now? So then you were saying like, go all in on how to be the top search. Like, what are you seeing as the most effective way for HVAC companies or any trades companies when they're looking to, like, what is the most effective thing that is happening in digital marketing right now? Is there one thing?
I was going to say there is no one thing. And the thing that I think not enough people realize is they need to show up everywhere. And this happens even with SEO. Like SEO used to be Google Maps, especially for a local search, and then a bunch of blue organic links. Well, now those same terms, you may generate an AI overview. You may generate a bunch of YouTube videos. You may generate things that Reddit ranks for. And if your business is not in all of those places, you're losing opportunity. You just don't know it because you're not in those places, but you have to show up everywhere, or at least try to show up everywhere. And there's ways to do that. I mean, Jen, because you're in the content game, and so do we. There are tools. You can create one really great piece of content and disperse it in probably about 20 or 30 ways. I'm sure if we really counted, we could come up with like a 64 point, just like our clients have a 64-point maintenance checklist. We can kind of do the same thing if you added up all the social networks and emails and blogs and forums and stuff, but just focus on creating valuable content. And I think a lot of people struggle with because they're so used to talking about this stuff with their technicians. It's like, this isn't that valuable, but it is valuable to the people that don't know how to do it. It's just, they don't realize that though. And they're like, nobody wants to hear about this stuff, but they do. Yeah. There's channels that get millions of views that are about stuff that you would never think is that interesting.
Right. For sure. Okay. I want to just ask you this. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this. And this is something that I heard Eric Thomas bring up a bunch of times, and I talked to him about on his podcast, but like the Reddit thing. So you're right. Like Reddit totally comes up in searches like all the time. Honestly, when I click on it, I never get the answer I'm looking for. But is there even a way to use Reddit like intentionally from a business standpoint? Because I am a daily Reddit user. Like obviously, if you are on Reddit, anybody listening to this, you know how Reddit works, and like you're in sub communities, and so you're seeing things like specific. But I don't know who any of these people are. If they were a business owner, like I would never know. It is so anonymous to me. So yes, it's coming up in search, but could businesses even leverage that?
I think they can if they treat it like a Facebook group.
They had their own sub community.
Yeah, almost like like whatever a subreddit of your community and home improvement, something that's a broad enough category where it's not just focused. Like no homeowner's probably gonna join an HVAC subreddit of your community. Like I just don't think it's interesting enough. But they care about their home improvement, their landscaping, and all these other things. And maybe that could be something that somebody could leverage with partners in the area or other businesses that they know in the home services space, and then just bring value and have people ask questions. I mean, I feel like the subreddits they're like Facebook groups, but they're very anonymous. So you're going to get extraordinarily direct feedback on stuff. Yeah. I don't know if you know Kevin Robert. He's in California. He owns a plumbing company. He also owns Infernix, which is an AI voice solution. Okay. Competes with Avoca and some of the other ones out there. But he mentioned that a couple of years ago, he created some subreddit and he talked about AI voice in there. I literally just saw this, I think like a week ago. And he gets like 5 to 7 leads a week from that Reddit
How does post. He get them? Did they message him? I never check but I don't ever comment.
I didn't ask any details. I just thought it was really interesting. I'm like, because I've never considered it for us. We're in a lot of channels. That's one I have never tried to figure out.
I feel like it gets talked about like, oh, Reddit. And I'm like, I'm waiting for the person to explain to me how this can really be an asset for them. Because one thing that Eric brought up was Roger Wakefield. Is that his name? I feel like I'm butchering it, but that he has like a Reddit community. But I'm like, right. But he grew his community with YouTube and with videos. So like people knew who he was. So even if he has a subreddit, like that's not how he grew. Or maybe he did, not in 2025. I don't know. I'm just curious if that's a legitimate strategy.
Well, Jen, I think you and I should just create a subreddit that's trades
Right.
marketing mastery, and we can just give valuable content there. We can invite our friends, the people that we know are really good at what they do, and just have, and then my guess, just like a Facebook group, people would find out about it. You share it a little bit, and then all of a sudden people are, and then they get to know you as, again, experts. And I'm sure that some of that stuff links to like your website and your other social profiles and stuff, which can help grow that way too.
And I think it works in tandem, just like everything else. Like nothing works in a vortex. There's nothing you can
Not
do
anymore.
that's like, interestingly, social media does differently than anything else. Like meaning like if you have a channel that goes really viral and you create content that people want to watch, like I think about like there's, creators that I watch on TikTok, and that is how they grew, and you create more out of it. But like there is that you can actually get a ton of recognition. You can get a lot of opportunities just from social media. Just saying.
Oh yeah. Well, so that back to that post you mentioned. So what that allowed us to do, because that post went really well and I'll share in all these groups and a bunch of people liked and comment and all these different things. We got interviewed on, I think it was CBS 58, which was one of our local stations. And then the interview was at least good enough. So I got that guy's information. His name was Evan Peterson. When it got hot the next summer, guess who I reached out to? Because this is actually an SEO tactic. It's called HARO, help a reporter out. But this is a great way for you to get local coverage for yourself. Is these guys are always looking for stories.
Yeah, they need news.
Think about it from a content creation perspective. If you're listening to this, you probably don't love coming up with all of your own ideas all the time. It is exhausting to like think and like what would be a good video today? What would be a good blog today? But if you have ideas, and those ideas really don't change from season to season, right? It's the same thing in your business every year. Reach out to reporters, and LinkedIn is a great place for this because you can find all the local reporters in your area. Reach out to them, pitch them a story to like, hey, weather's coming up, or this event's coming up and we're doing this, or if you have some great local community thing that you're doing, like a charitable thing or something, you can get press coverage for that. I know that's not the reason some people do that stuff, but you can get press coverage, which helps your SEO, it helps your social media presence, it helps your entire brand presence, because now people are searching, well, who's this company?
Yeah.
So there's ways to do
it's
that.
Like free.
It is. It's completely free except for your time.
Right. So even to go along with that, like sometimes, we pitch people and they don't care. And so that's where going to like community events and being a part of the chamber and like introducing yourself to people is really helpful. Because as you start to get to know them, then they're even more likely, if somebody that I know is like, Jen, I want to be on the podcast. I'm like, yeah, sure. Here you go. If it's somebody I don't know, I have to do more research and make sure that it's legit or like that could actually bring value. So starting relationships is also going to help you be more impactful with that.
That's so underutilized too. Like when I was in my 20s and I saw other business owners, I always had like the entrepreneurial spirit for that stuff. I saw like they always talk about networking and stuff. And I was never definitely look at myself as more of an introvert. I've gotten a lot better with age and experience of just like not caring as much and not thinking about what other people think. But it's always kind of like to go up to people and introduce myself and talk about ourselves. Like it's awkward, right? Until you're used to it. But some of the best relationships and partnerships have come from introducing ourselves to people that would have never thought to go up and talk to, because then they have someone that they know that could use our services, or someone that has a problem that we, I've even some like on our podcast, I've hired multiple vendors that I've interviewed on the podcast. I'm like, oh, we need this for our business. Like, that's great. Help our audience, but help me too. So, but without doing that and putting yourself out there. And I think so many people are afraid to step out of their office or to step out of their normal day to day. As nerve wracking as it is, get in front of this thing and just record yourself. It opens up so many opportunities.
People feel like they know you. I'm sure you get it even more than I do, but like you go places and people are like, man, I like watch you. And you're like, I feel like my reaction to that is never great, even though like,
because we don't think that of ourselves.
I need to get better at it of like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's good.
We don't look at ourselves like, like Patrick Mahomes.
We don't think about how many people are watching you. Like, even though you're like putting so much content out there for the purpose of other people watching it, then when people are like, oh, I've been watching you, you're like, I've never seen you comment on anything. Like, I don't even know who you are. What? You're not even.
Yeah. Or they tell you that really love your content, really love all the stuff. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know we were connected.
Right.
But it is a little awkward, but it's also very rewarding when other people are getting value from the things that and realizing, like, we all think that we have to have like these super secret ideas, like Elon Musk level ideas, like innovation, like crazy.
Be careful. He's controversial right now.
I know that he is probably not a great name, but like just someone like because he's brought Tesla,
Yeah,
SpaceX, like
I'm
things,
just
things
kidding.
that, yeah, we don't have to have like, we don't have to be that innovative. Just
Right.
the
To
really
make
good
an
pieces of
impact.
information that you want your audience to know is really valuable to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You don't have to like rewrite the history books in order to be successful with content.
I think it's even easier than that. I think it's just consistently showing up. Like, I think we have a mutual client, Fast Air, and we were talking to them. He said he was at the gas station and someone was like, "Oh, I see you all over TikTok." And it's funny because he's not even in our content. It was just the brand. And that's what they were referring to, is like, I see your brand videos all over TikTok. And that's not because, honestly, like, they don't create a lot of videos for us. We use a lot of CapCut templates that would just like their branding in it. So it was literally just videos of their brand consistently getting in front of people that made an impact, to where someone came up to them and said, "I see you guys all over social media." And he's like, "I didn't even know I was on social media. That's crazy." So I don't even think it has to be like even earth shattering, just consistent visibility. Okay.
It does help.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to get into AI and automation, because that is something that you have spent a lot of time focusing on and learning about. So tell us a little bit about like that project and what the goals are for it.
Yeah. So Tersh, who I should mention his name, but he helps produce this show. And then we have Service Business Mastery, our podcast. Him and I, that was one of our like first initial bonding things back before we ever started working together and had other businesses together, was automation, Zapier specifically. And there was a small coaching group we were both a part of online back in like 2017, 2018. We just realized like nobody was talking about stuff, but we did a ton of automations for our businesses. So after we got together and started talking, like, because automation really is even before AI came about, automation's the thing that people actually really want.
Yeah.
AI can save time.
Like something faster.
AI can save time, especially when it comes to research or analysis or coming up like brainstorming. But automation actually makes one thing move to the next thing, which moves to the next thing. So you don't actually have to copy paste or type it out again or do manual data entry. So we created a community. It's called Trade Automation Pros, to help people and teach people how to leverage this stuff. The problem is that we've run into is that people, they all want automation. Everybody says they want automation, but they have zero idea what they can automate. Like literally no idea. We've asked this question so many times and the answer is always the same. I don't know what I can do. I don't know what I can automate. How about you just tell me? I've had people tell me, just tell me what I can automate and I'll do it.
I feel the same way. Like, what all? I like want to peek in, like, what are all the things?
Yeah, and it's hard because everyone wants to automate everything at once and it's just impossible to do. Like, we have to look at like what things in your business are you touching multiple times that would be really nice. Like, I'll use form submission. I'll use a really basic example, form submissions. They come into your email or someone's email, and then you have to put the customer into a CRM, and then you have to reach out to that customer. All of that could be automated. That's actually a very, very simple use case. We did one back. It wasn't the prettiest of automations I've ever done, but back in like 2019, we were getting a lot of 5-star reviews for the HVAC company I was working at. I'm like, man, we got profiles on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. Like, we got all these things set up. What if I just took 5-star reviews and just blasted them out everywhere? Every time we get a 5-star review, just send them out to all the social media networks, because that way all the good work and stuff we're doing on Google gets shown up everywhere. Now, is that the best social media content? No, but it fills a lot of gaps when I didn't want to put anything together and have to like use my brain to think for ideas. And people would see 5 stars related to our brand all the time because it was put almost daily. So there's some correlation there in your local markets and stuff like, God, you guys must do great work. Everybody loves you guys. Whether that was the case or not, we told people that was the case. And we did have a good company, a good team. So it was the case, but simple things. And once you get to that point, you start doing the simple things well on automation. You can start building additional things. Like our onboarding thing for our agency is like, it's a 20-step. It's like my, what do they call it? Like piece de resistance or whatever the fancy word is for like your like work of art here. I'm very proud of that one because it incorporates everything from like customer service and like the initial welcome email to like internal folders and all the stuff that we have to create internally. And then it notifies the team in Slack. Like all kinds of things for us. And it kicks off our flow. So when you get a new client, you have it built when we get a new client, a great example of this in the trades would be like when you sell a new job, like you sell a big job, like an install. I'll use the HVAC, like a new system. There's a lot of internal stuff. You got to get the folder ready. You got to order the equipment. You got to get warranty paperwork ready. You got to make sure the customer knows what to expect before you come out. All of that can be automated. If your process is optimized, if your process is a shit show, you're going to optimize. You're going to automate a shit show.
Right. I feel like it really makes you hone in on what the process is, because in order to automate it, there needs to be a process. So that's like step one of like, what are we doing here? And like, how can we get from point A to point B in the quickest and most efficient way so that we can have it set up to automate?
Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem too, is a lot of small businesses process. If you are not talking about processes just about every single day, you're doing it wrong. And I know it sucks to hear that because processes are not fun. They're not exciting. I get tired of talking about processes, but literally every single day something happens. They're going to be like, okay, what's our process for that? Is our process broken? Do we have to go back and fix it? Like, and that's how you build a successful long-term company that can continue to repeat and scale
and sell. You can't sell a company that doesn't have processes because then it's not a company. It's just like a bunch of people.
No, they're not going to pay you very well for it. They may buy it because of the brand or something, but they're not going to pay you very well for it because they want to make sure like if Jen or Josh wasn't a part of the company, that it's still going to run
the same way.
So just because you're a really great employee that can do all these different things doesn't mean that's a great company for someone to buy. It's not valuable in the eyes of somebody that has a big checkbook.
Yeah. So what about like AI in marketing? So you guys, I know, utilize Bullseye Pro, which helps you automate a lot of things for your clients. But what are some ways that a trades company could use AI and automation in their marketing? I know you mentioned like the 5-star review thing, and then of course like lead forms coming through. What are some other ways?
Yeah, well, I'll give you, so the automating the 5-star review thing, I'll give you, so that was an automated example. Now with AI, you can take that same process and make it better by infusing like a chat GPT or an OpenAI step into your workflow that says, here's the contents of the review. You can either do it where it automatically posts, or maybe it gives you 3 options, like create an engaging social media post, thanking this customer for the review. Make sure you put the customer's review in quotes and create a nice post. You can even create an image if you wanted to. I don't know if I would trust the image generation stuff just yet.
Right.
But
with text on it. No.
A lot of this, even form submissions, like, because sometimes you can automate form submissions. I mean, 50% of them are crap. They're spam. They're insurance companies and companies saying, well, you don't rank on Google, even though you do. But if you add ChatGPT as a step of like, okay, here's the contents of this. I'm a small plumbing residential service company. Is based on the contents of this message, is this a lead? Yes or no? Only answer yes or no. And now we have a filter step. So now we don't take every single form submission and put it into our CRM. We only take the ones that have the filter of yes, it was a lead, and send that to our CRM. So we can clean up some of the data that way. From a messaging standpoint, I think that's probably some of the best use cases for AI is the brainstorming. Because if we're creating, let's say we get a new member or selling memberships, we get a new member and we want to nurture that member over the first year. So they stay engaged, they renew at the end of the year, they get their service done. Coming up with, let's say 12 emails and text messages over the course of a year, 1 a month, that is not fun. Like that's a lot of brain power. It's a lot of time. And most of us are not copywriters by trade. So we don't know how to speak to that audience and keep them engaged. So I think things like that and giving ChatGPT prompts of like, hey, this is what my customer is. This is what I want to have happen. Help me write 12 emails over the course of a year of this. I don't usually take those things and copy paste. Some I will. If they're really good. But otherwise it's the idea, and then take it and make it your tone of voice and stuff like that, or how your brand voice is. I think the brainstorming, we've done a lot of data analytics and stuff through ChatGPT.
I'm obsessed with that right now.
We've done a lot of even webinars, and you and I talked before we went live about presentations because we both have a presentation at AHR coming up. Yeah. And so I've taken what I already had, and then if I felt like there could be something better in there, but I didn't know exactly what it was, I'll download a PDF of that presentation. I'll send it. ChatGPT didn't work as well for me. That I use Claude. I uploaded the PDF and I said, hey, this slide right here, I'm transitioning from this to this. I don't know I can't figure out the best way to do it, and just have a conversation with it. And I've been really pleasantly surprised by some of the tips and feedback and stuff. I'm like, oh, that actually works really well. I'm going to put that in the notes so that way I don't forget that. Yeah. So that for me, that's how AI has saved me time. And then obviously video content ideas. I can't come up with ideas all the time, especially like when it comes to like the hooks and some of the intricate details that you guys focus on with videos. Like that stuff's not my expertise. So I need some help there to like get it where I can grab somebody's attention and then hold their attention long enough for them to watch the content. Yeah.
I have been like really putting a ton of transcripts. So like using my robot, like meeting, whatever, I'm using Read AI. I know you use Fathom, and Fathom does look like more robust, but all I'm doing is like Read AI does this. They like give you the talking points, they give you the follow-up or whatever. But I really love to take the transcript into ChatGPT and have it like analyze me, or like how the conversation went, or how it could have gone better, or what I could do to bring it back to where I wanted, or how to follow up with it. Like, I think that's really interesting. Not related to marketing at all, but that's like my
but it can be, because if you think, I mean, obviously we're remote companies, so everything we do is on Zoom or some sort of
that is so much easier. I'm on a phone call. I'm like, wait a minute, let me get my robot.
But even in-person meetings, whether it's on your phone recording and you're doing sales calls, or you use a device like Plaud, Plaud, HVAC, which is like, you either get it as like a wearable. This is not a Applaud device, but you can get like a watch or like a necklace, or you can put it on the back of your phone.
That's
and
cool.
You record those. And then just like you said, you can take that transcription, ChatGPT, you are a world-class sales professional, put the transcription in there and then ask it specific questions about that. Like, where do you think I went wrong? Why didn't I get the sale? What could I have done better?
It's like all
you can help yourself that way.
The call by call AI that exists. It's like that, right? I mean, a lot of those are
analyzing. Well, that's exactly what they're doing. They're analyzing, and then they have just massive data sets that they're able to be like, well, the guys that are selling or gals that are selling the highest average tickets and the highest close rate are doing this. You're doing this. So let's try to get you a little bit closer to this over here. And you can also become that. And it's working really well. We do the same thing with our Fathoms. Like Brittany, my wife, will watch sales calls and we'll give feedback or ask questions. A lot of times she goes in, especially with Client Success Manager, they have their monthly strategy calls, and she'll ask it questions about how the call went, were there any problems, any things that we need to address or anything like that, and just gets her the answer really quickly. And I think a lot of people want AI to like do all this magic stuff for them, but like just enhance what you're already doing first. Don't try to find the silver bullet or the golden goose or whatever analogy you want. Take what you're doing every day and just make it a couple percent better.
Right. That's exactly what it is.
And you do that for everything. Their focus was always, it wasn't to get 50% better. It was to get 1%. Oh, no. It was a story about Great Britain's cycling team back in the early 2000s. They were like one of the worst cycling nations in the world. They sucked, first world nation. And they hired a coach, and his focus was just literally like 1% improvements, changing the attire.
Atomic Habits. I think I read that story.
Yes, it was Atomic Habits. It was just the power of just simple little things every single day over time stacks up to be massive differences overall in your business and your life.
Yeah, I know. I love that. I always think about that. AI 100% can help you do that. And I always think like work smarter. Like that's what I'm using it for. Like there's no reason for me to use brain power on things that AI can help me do faster and more efficiently. So
absolutely.
The last thing I definitely want to talk about, because I think this is one of the biggest things in AI and marketing right now, is using it for, and you mentioned like a really great case of how to do this, but using it for SEO, or using it for a blog post, using it, like how do you create content that's actually different and stands out? Because eventually all the AI content is going to sound the same. It's like just merging a bunch of people's ideas into one thing. So how do you still use it, but also create content that is different?
Yeah. So the idea that we have, and we're going to be testing this. So obviously we write regular content based on things we need to rank for, just like we always have been, but is to actually interview clients or have somebody interview you and ask you questions, because you can, just like we talked about taking transcripts and using AI for that. You can straight up use AI for a blog post for that, but it is completely unique content. It is your version of those answers. And obviously it's going to have some brand voice. It's going to have how you speak in there. And so it's not going to be what a large language model has been fed and just regurgitated in a different way. So that is still unique, helpful content. It's probably some of the better content that you can put out on your website and stuff, is because it's you. It's your answer to the question is, how much does AC repair cost in your market? Nobody else can. I mean, if you don't answer that question, Home Advisor is going to answer it for you. And I promise you, Home Advisor is going to be way cheaper than it actually is to do that service in your market. And then that type of content can be great for what you guys do for social media, because everybody wants, like when we go to the websites, the reason there's like literally the number one objection we hear on phone calls that we listen to is price. Because people have no idea what anything costs. They're like, wait, you're going to charge me $99 to come out? Why? I already told you the system's not working. Like, what do you need to diagnose? Like they just don't, we just don't understand it as humans, because sometimes, especially, Jen, you and I are in the millennial, we're like in the middle to, I'm on the upper end of the millennial age group. I'm still a millennial, but like we're the major share of homeowners now. And then Gen Z is starting to buy homes. They buy things completely different than Gen X and boomers did. And so we have to be able to answer the people. They don't know what it costs. They don't know how to fix themselves. Our parents' generation, they were all taught to do all of their own repairs and maintenance and things like that. It hasn't carried down to generation like it used to.
That's so smart. You're right. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to call somebody.
I know. I'm the same way. I had that conversation yesterday. I'm like, I have this picture. I have my Inc. 5000 thing. You can't see it. It's right behind my shoulder. It's still sitting on the ground because I'm not allowed to hang stuff in our house. So eventually I will get around around to hiring someone and start putting stuff all over the walls and whatnot. But
that's so funny.
But yeah, I would have no idea what that stuff costs. I'd have to look it up, or I'd have to call and ask and be like, okay, well, I'll call the next person. But if you have that content, at least be upfront about it. I think there's been a lot more transparency with pricing in the home services space as is with things like Contractor Commerce and Upfrog and some of these other solutions out there. And I hope to see more of that, because if someone is going to balk at you coming out for $79 or $49 or $99, they're not going to pay $5,000 for a new water heater or whatever. So you might as well just not waste the time and just move on to someone that actually does want you to take care of.
Yeah, I love that idea. And I think for a lot of people, it's easier to have a conversation. So it's way easier to have a recorded conversation, even if you're trying to do this on your own, to have somebody interview you and ask you the questions that people are calling and asking. Like, what are all of the calls that your CSRs are getting? Like, what are the questions that people are asking? What are the common issues? And a lot of the time, I always tell people, like, think about the conversations that you're having with homeowners in the home. Like, what are you guys talking about? What are you showing them? What are you explaining to them? Like, that's all of the really great content. So just recording that, putting that into AI and turning that into your blog content, your social media content is like way easier. And it's way
easier than people think it is. They think they have to like have this whole setup in a studio and all the mics and the cameras and the lights and stuff, which sure you have too. But that you can evolve to that. Like, we didn't start out that way. We started out with literally a phone and like a plug-in mic. So my sound wasn't terrible. And then I've upgraded probably 4 times the different mics. Usually church is just mailing me stuff. I'm like, hey, you got to try this mic instead. This one's better than the last one.
I know. I have a really good mic for recording on my phone, but I just bought a new camera, which is coming.
It's an addiction.
Maybe it'll come today. But
the DJI like content creator kit that I carry around with us that when we go to shows and stuff, it's got like the gimbal, which like spins, and it's way fancier than anything I probably really need, but it's cool.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, so here is how we end the podcast with the last question. So this is the Key to Growth podcast. So the question is, what is the key to growth in marketing and just in general?
That's a great question. I think we kind of touched on it, but I guess I'll reiterate the point. You need to be a marketing company that does X, Y, or Z. Like, you have to envision yourself as that. You are not an HVAC company that does marketing. You are a marketing company that does HVAC. If you look at it that way and you're always figuring out, like, example, you do technical training with your team, take a picture of it and share why you did technical training and why your team is so amazing. Share that stuff. Like, just because you don't like sharing things about yourself, share things about your team then. Share great wins from them. Share great wins from your customers. You have to share this stuff, because if you don't tell anyone, nobody's going to know. That's the world we live in. Whether you like it or not, you can argue. That's like a conversation over drinks, but you have to show up all the time and you have to be visible, because otherwise somebody else will be, and they're going to eat your lunch essentially. So
100%. ChatGPT helped me write a lot of scripts that sound exactly like that.
And that's just, and I think ChatGPT and the tools that we talked about stuff will help. They just help with ideas. So you don't have to think about that stuff. You can just press record, shoot it, get it off, get it online. The feedback and the views and all the analytics and stuff, I know you share this stuff a lot, will help. Like, was that a good video? Yes or no? And the public will tell you. If you got views, it's great. If you didn't, okay, try something else, because that video that sucked, the nice thing is nobody saw it. You don't have to worry about it. And then it gets lost in the sea of never-ending social media content, and you can just move on to the next thing.
I love that. Well, this has been amazing and so insightful. And actually, if you're like Josh, you just said, imagine that you're a marketing company that does HVAC. I think that's really hard for some people. Clearly, you and I both know there's a lot of owners that are like marketing brain people, which is probably why their businesses are so successful. But if you're not that person, go into ChatGPT and say, I am a marketing company that does HVAC. What should I do for marketing? And you can start brainstorming right from there. So I think that was a great last little tidbit that can be game changing for you in 2025.
I agree.
Well, thank you so much for joining me. This has been great.
Yeah, Jen, thank you. It's always great. I love seeing your guys' success and growth over the last couple of years.
Same to you. Absolutely.